Awesome. Thank you for watching this video. So what I'm going to run through here is essentially the process that I use for adding an additional 20% of revenue for all the clients that I work with. Now, the core aspect of this strategy is essentially sending more emails, right? It's sending more targeted campaigns to your database, figuring out what those campaigns need to be, how to chop up your database, and how to create emails that are going to get those conversions. Now, I've gone ahead and broken it down into 3 different stages: the ideation stage, the design stage, and then the actual sending stage. That's sending the emails. And then within those stages, there are 3 key touch points that each person will need to go into. Now, these will vary in terms of complexity depending on where you're at with your business, but if you follow all these steps and you actually send the campaigns, you should be able to increase your total e-commerce sales from an email perspective by about 20%, assuming you're not doing a whole lot from a campaign strategy perspective. Now, I just want to address some reservations really quickly. A lot of people say, 8 campaigns, which is what we're going to go for. 8 campaigns in a month is too much. I can tell you, it's not. 8 campaigns is not too many emails to send in a month. I know people get worried about bombarding their audience. It's not an issue. I've had conversations with people who work at Klaviyo who recommend 8 being the optimal amount of campaigns to send in a month, assuming you're sending to one segment of audience. And I'll talk about that shortly. So let's go ahead and get into it. Stage 1, ideation or ideate, is we're really just trying to uncover ideas, right? So we want to research ideas, and those ideas can be a wide range of things. Personally, I like having a nice 50-50 split between informational content and sales-focused content. So to find the sales-focused content, or content that's going to focus on selling your products or your services, we're going to want to do one thing. So, stage 1, research the ideas. Now, I like to go into the e-commerce platform that you're selling on, or you might already know this within your email marketing platform, such as Klaviyo, but I like to find the best selling products that you have and put them in a list. Typically, if you're an e-commerce store, you're going to have 1 to 3, sometimes 4 or 5 best sellers. Go ahead and chuck those down as a list of products that you're going to potentially promote. So, now you have 4 products that you're probably going to focus on from a campaign perspective. Great. Put those aside, and now let's go ahead and figure out 4 aspects that we're going to talk about in relation to your business that we can use to educate your audience. Now, there, I can guarantee you, are an infinite amount of content ideas that you can come up with to educate your audience, right? You want to provide value. Email marketing is not all about sales, product focuses. It's also about building a relationship with your audience, and you can do that through educating. That is one of the ways you can do that with email marketing. Educating your audience on the problems that your product sells. So we can think of it really simply, right? Tea. If you sell tea, you can come up with 5 different or 4 different campaign ideas that focus on the benefits that tea has when it comes to drinking it and how your products solve that problem. The your product section of those emails becomes like the secondary focus, right? So you want to create 4 different ideas that are going to educate your audience on the products that you sell, right? They can be also things such as ingredients, how this ingredient helps solve this problem for your readers. There's an infinite amount of variables that you can come up with when it comes to educating, but I like to have a nice 50-50 split. So after you've figured out the 4 products that you're going to promote, or the 4 ways that you're going to promote a certain product, right? Because you might only have one bestseller that you really want to focus on. Create 4 different ways of promoting that, whether that be an offer, whether it be a product focus, whether it be a email talking about the benefits of this product. Those are your product promotion emails. And then on the other side, you're going to have your informational emails, right? That are just educating your audience about the problem that your business or your product solves. Now, you're probably thinking there's a bit of crossover going on between the product focus and sales focus and the informational focus. That's fine. That happens as long as you have 8 campaign ideas that are varying degrees of primary focus. One being selling, one being educating. So now that we've gone ahead and ideated and we have our vague campaign ideas, right? So we know topics that we're going to talk about. we're going to segment our audience. Now, a lot of the issues I see with people when it comes to email marketing is they do not segment their audience. They just blast their emails out to their entire database. The easiest place to start with segmentation is segmenting your audience by engagement, right? Now, I like to start with a 90-day engaged segment, and odds are that's probably the best place for you to start as well. So 90-day engaged segment looks like anybody who has opened, been active on site, clicked an email, placed an order, or subscribed to a list at least once in the last 90 days, right? You can create those segments in Klaviyo or in MailChimp or whatever ESP you're using, or email service provider that you're using, and that's what I recommend creating as your first segment. That's going to create a segment of people who are engaged with your emails. There's no point in us sending emails to people who are not opening our emails in the first place. Segmenting by engagement is a great starting point for email marketing. Now, as you go on with your email marketing and as you become more familiar with the strategies, you're going to want to start segmenting by interest and what people have purchased in the past, but that is a separate conversation really altogether and should probably come in this optimized stage here, which I will talk about shortly. Now, research times. For those of you who do not know, odds are your emails get the best response rates from an open, click, and placed order perspective at a specific time of day. If you do not already know this, if you have not already researched this through the use of split testing, which we'll do more of down here, if you do not already know this, it's time to figure out when that best time is. Now, if you have not done any testing, you're not going to be able to find this in your emails. You can click campaigns, click the past campaigns and see activity. That will give you an indication as to when the emails are getting the best open rates. But the best way to figure out when the best time to send your emails is to actually determine when your store is experiencing the most sales. So go into your e-commerce platform and see when you're seeing a spike in sales as well as activity on your site. And odds are that's when your audience is going to be most responsive to the emails that you're getting. It's not the best way to go about it, but in absence of us actually doing any testing or having done any testing, it's the next best thing. So figure out when the best time to send the emails is based on the activity in terms of purchases and site activity throughout the day and potentially even days of the week, right? Now, scripting emails. I like to keep emails, honestly, below, if I'm being fully honest, below 150 words. So when you're scripting these emails, based off of the ideas that you've come up with over here, you want to keep the emails below 150 words in terms of body copy. I think your point needs to be short and snappy, and very rarely, unless you're in like a medicinal space or you're in a nootropic space, are you going to need more than 150 words to describe the key benefits of your product. You can really surmise them in a shorter, more succinct manner, and you should be able to do that just in general. But if you have a product that solves 3 benefits, see if you can explain how it solves those 3 benefits in a really simple, easy way in under 150 words. And if you need more time to explain those benefits, that's when just getting them to click onto your site and read more about the product comes in. That's your call to action. So script those emails, see if you can compress them to about 150 words. I do want to say I give a bit of leeway when it comes to the education side of the emails to actually go a bit beyond that 150, but just make sure you break it up, like break that text up, because from a reader's perspective, when I see a wall of text in my inbox from it when I open the email, I'm probably not going to read it because I'm getting tens of emails each day and I want to keep them short and to the point. So if you can, break that email up with imagery if possible. And that's where we come into the design side of things. Now, I like to use Figma to design all of my clients' emails, and honestly, I recommend you guys do the same as well. Now, some key rules when designing these emails. You want to have, first of all, a header image. That's clear. Now, this client here has actually specified that they want a person in the header image, so it's quite important just for us to include that there. But a really key component of designing an email that's going to get good conversion rates, good click rates, is having a call to action within that header section. So just bringing this call to action up here in the header section, which is what we call above the fold, right? So if we were to have this call to action, we'd make sure it fits quite nicely And of course, it's cropping a little funky there, but there we go. We just have a call to action above the fold here, and we'd adjust the copy a little bit here as well. Also, when you're designing these emails, make sure you design a desktop and a mobile version of each email, because you want to make sure it shows up well in both devices. And you'll notice in certain cases that the text needs to be adjusted slightly and the images need to be enlarged or compressed slightly as well, just to make sure that it's legible on a mobile device. Also, when you have these images here, make sure you export them with a transparent background for the white, as that's going to make sure it shows up well in dark mode. Because what dark mode does is it inverts all of these colors. So you want to make sure it's a transparent background so that the white doesn't get inverted into a funky, weird color there. So make sure you design your emails, have them all laid out. I like to use Figma because it just makes it super easy to adjust, make adjustments, edit, all that good stuff. Really, really simple. But yeah, that's how I would go ahead and design the emails, get them all out in like a master sheet just like this, and you can see all of them really, really easily. Now, that is the design stage. Obviously, make sure the emails are on brand, have clear call to actions. You want people to be able to click, have a call to action above the fold and then below the fold, which is when somebody opens an email versus just when it's down below. Nice and easy. That's what I would do from a design perspective. Then the second bit is building and testing. It just says build here, but when you're building the emails, you actually need to take these and build them into Klaviyo, right? And the testing side, when you're building and testing these emails, you want to use a software called Email on Acid. Now, this software is about $100 a month if you're not working with an agency, so you have to pay for this yourself, but it's well worth it. What Email on Acid does is it allows you to test all of your emails for compatibility, the difference between dark mode and normal, and also just allows you to see where your emails are falling short in terms of sizes, if they're too big, so you don't want your emails to clip, and also allows you to know if there's any links missing, if there's alt texts on all of your emails, and if they're going to show up well on different devices, right? Like how my email shows up on my computer here is going to look different to how it shows up on my phone here. And Email on Acid allows you to see what your emails are going to look like on most devices out there. So it's really important to use something like this and test all of your emails. So once you've built them and test them, you want to create some A/B tests. Now, A/B testing is super important with email marketing, but the things that you test, like the variables that you test, vary. Now, you can, and honestly, if you have the capacity, you probably should split test designs. Like, for example, if we were here, we could completely change the design of this email and see if that performs better while making sure it's still on brand, right, compared to the existing one. And then, if we see that the new version, like the A/B test with the radically different design, performs better, we would go ahead and replicate those updates across all of the other emails, because now we know what's performing better. However, if you do not have the capacity to create or you don't have the resources to create different designs, for example, you don't have time to create a new design for all 8 of these emails, right? Meaning you have 16 emails. Easier split tests to do, which are just as important, are actually testing the send time, if you haven't already done this, right? Because this is going to allow you to research time and send emails when people are more likely to open, click, engage with. So in Klaviyo, you can click A/B test, and you can send the emails at different times. And what you're going to then do is schedule them, right? You can also test subject lines as well, but I find it a bit more important. And at least initially, if you have not tested the times already, you want to test those send times. So start off with a test at like 8 a.m. versus 5 p.m. See when the engagement rate's better, right? Schedule those emails, schedule all 8 out, and then after they have all been sent or they are being sent, right, you optimize. So let's say you send email 1 in your campaign and you have a split test between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., right? Then you send the email, you schedule it, right? And then you take a look at that result and you say, oh, look at this. It looks like 8 a.m. performed better. So now let's do another test between 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. And this is that constant optimizations that you need to be doing with email marketing, because you're gradually getting closer to a better result when it comes to conversions. Now, I mentioned that you should build 8 emails in total. Roughly, that looks like about 2 campaigns per week over a period of 1 month. Now you can send those 2 campaigns, or rather 8 campaigns, whenever you want in that month, but sending 8 campaigns a month is typically what's going to get you the best results and the best return on investment from an email marketing perspective. The more emails you send, the more revenue your business is going to make. So you can stagger those out, right? You can even split test the day that you want to send these, as well as the time. So for example, create an A/B test. We have 2 campaigns that we're going to send this week. We're going to A/B test the first campaign between a Monday and Tuesday at 8 a.m. and we're going to A/B test the second campaign on a Thursday, Friday. Just make sure you're getting 8 campaigns out in a month. Now, I hope you found that useful. I am trialing this process, so I've actually implemented this a few times for a few of my clients and it's worked really well, but I really want to figure out if this video was actually useful for you guys, so please let me know if you have any feedback on this and would really appreciate any chances just to improve it. And if you need some help actually implementing this whole process, just let me know. I'm more than happy to jump on a call and teach you some tips and tricks. Awesome, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.